Another project of yours is called Thingfish, which is about, as I understand it, sexually transmitted disease, particularly amongst homosexuals. And I would say it was AIDS, if you like. Which
well, in this thing, it's called the mystery disease, but it's quite obvious that it is an AIDS-like disease, and it's been manufactured on purpose, and it's being transmitted on purpose, and the purpose is to rid the planet of certain people. I believe that AIDS, in reality, is not a natural accident. It's not a natural disease that just sort of evolved. Somebody cooked it up. I think that it's something that either escaped from a genetic engineering laboratory or something that was manufactured on purpose in a genetic engineering laboratory to somebody's specifications. I also believe that all the warfare of the future will be conducted with these biological agents, because now that gene splicing is a thing that can be done, it is feasible to consider the preparation of certain diseases which will kill only specific races, nationalities, or people with certain interests, because you can tailor the disease to attack certain things in certain categories. For example, there are diseases now which affect only certain types of people. Tay-Sachs disease, which affects certain Jewish people. Sickle cell anemia, which affects black people. If you want to narrow it down and carry it to ridiculous extremes, I could see somebody in an American laboratory, or maybe even in a Swiss laboratory, making a disease that would kill only Iraqis, or only Iranians, or only Libyans, or only Russians, or only people from Newcastle, whatever they decided to do, you know?
But these are very serious allegations, Frank. I mean, what actually makes you believe this? Do you have hard and fast evidence that this is the case, or is it just something that you've theorized?
No, this is just the opinion of an aging buffoon. You know? Just think nothing of it.
So, you think that possibly America or any other country in the world could increase its power and its standing internationally by actually utilizing these agents?
Let's look at the world the way it really is. Government is a joke. Governments don't do anything. That's like a cardboard cutout that hides where the real machinery is. The world is a place that does business. The world is run by multinational businesses that mostly sell weapons to each other. And then you have sugar business, oil business, coal business, you know, business. And when the guys who run these things say jump, all governments jump. And it's foolish to consider the possibility of nuclear war, because from a business standpoint, it's impractical. It stops all business. So, the way you have to look at it is, the chances are much more likely that the sales will continue of missile delivery systems, but what will be in the warheads will not be things that destroy real estate. It's much more practical to think of missiles going someplace and putting out chemicals or microbes that enable the one party to subjugate the other party by controlling its labor force while leaving the buildings intact. So you've subjugated them, and now you got a bonus. You have their machinery, you got this, you got that. And I believe that there's somebody sitting in an office someplace that's working on it, and that's the practical way to do it. You can scream about nuclear war, and you have people running around with signs and stuff like that, but I don't believe there will ever be a nuclear war, because it's just impractical from a business sense. Meanwhile, the companies that are building delivery systems are making plenty of money, billions of dollars, because the money goes into small arms, delivery systems, medium-sized arms. Their commerce is still going on, and that's why they're alive. That's what they love to do.
Yeah, that's already been borne out by missile systems that have been developed that do, in fact, destroy people and not buildings. I take your point there, but if you take somewhere as complicated as America, which is a real potpourri of different religions, different races, you're going to have a mighty complicated missile to have to destroy the people of America, because you've got Jews, you've got Anglo-Saxons, you've got all sorts of different races. So doesn't the argument kind of fall down there in that, as I say, you'd have to actually develop a really complicated missile to destroy
the
America?
Russians would have to develop a really complicated missile to destroy the United States. The Americans would not have so much trouble. And under an administration like Reagan, I'm sure that they've sat down and looked at the numbers and said, this is a pretty terrific idea.
Having said all that you just said...
Oh, wait, there's more. They not only thought it was a terrific idea, but they were convinced that Jesus wanted them to do it that way.
Right, fair enough. Having said all that you have said, does it make you ashamed to be American?
Absolutely not, because I want to say right now, I'm happy to be an American, and I have nothing to do with Ronald Reagan. the way he and his Jesus people are has got nothing to do with me being a citizen of that country. Let me tell you one great thing about America that everybody in Europe could be jealous of. For the landmass that we have versus the landmass of the European part of the world, you have more hatred per square foot from country to country than exists anywhere in the United States. The idea of the ethnic pride and the grudges that go back thousands of years that will keep this part of the world a disaster area for centuries yet to come is something that we will not experience in the States. And I'm happy to be from there rather than from here, because over here you have to choose. You get to be English, or you get to be French or Polish or whatever it is, but you have to say we're the best, and you live your life thinking that you're the best and the guy next door is a poothead. And you have to conduct your business that way, and it's the business of hate. There's no cooperation, there's no standardization, and you can insulate yourself and think that what you're doing in your country is really terrific, but it's not. Ultimately, it bites. And in the United States, weird as it is, there is always the possibility that something good could happen all the way across the country. There is a national feeling there among a large number of people, even though the guy from Vermont might have totally different tastes in politics and everything else from the guy in Texas. They are still Americans, and they're happy to be that way. You don't hear people saying, I am a European and proud to be that way. You hear them say, I'm French, and the rest of you guys go die.
Do you ever get tired of being treated as something of a rock and roll oddball or eccentric?
Well, it's always boring, but I mean, that comes with the territory. I would rather be treated as an eccentric than have to do the things that people do in order to be treated as one of the real guys. You know, that's stupid. I'm not going to grow purple hair or wear clothes with a diagonal zipper on it, you know, and sit around all day going.
But it's a tremendously powerful mainstream in America, isn't it? I mean...
Well, who wants to swim in that?
Exactly.
It moves toward the Christians.
But I wonder what you really did feel about that, because we, on our program, get a lot of videos over from America, and they do seem very formularized, and it must be very difficult for somebody like you to actually be able to survive and create some sort of living within that.
Why, it's next to impossible.
So how do you cope? You just go against the grain?
Well, my theory is you do have to do two things. One, you keep going. One, you don't stop, and two, you keep going. And then you get whatever comes up.
But now the reason I asked was because you've been talking about your independence and how valued it is, and by signing to a big corporation, which is very powerful not only in entertainment but in defense and a lot of other areas as well, you might lose that independence, and you might actually...
How? All I do is deliver a product to them, and all they do is distribute it. They don't tell me what to record, when to record it, or anything. The work is already done in the United States. They pay me for the privilege of shipping it around outside the United States.
Okay. Frank, finally, I'd like to ask you...
Actually, I've got a great idea. Maybe we can find some way to work the defense. I know they only make defensive weapons, but that would be a great delivery system for an album. You know, what a way to release an album. You know, for those hard-to-get-to areas, you know. And it's a good way to test the missile to see whether it actually will fly, because in the United States we have all these missiles on the ground, but they have these computer chips from Texas Instruments, and we don't know whether they're going to go anywhere. So EMI Thorn has the possibility to rush release this album, which they're a little behind on. They have a chance with 4 missiles. They can test the missiles, and we can, you know, have a committee meeting and choose the right country to aim the things at, and send a sucker over there with just a few of them in the warhead, and it would be a really great way to tie the two companies together.
Frank, I'm sure the marketing boys are working on that even as we speak.
I hope so.